Good afternoon, everyone, from the Burke Street Mall. The clock on the Town Hall has just finished chiming Advance Australia Fair, and what a great Australian scene. This is the scene for the 1988 Grand Final Parade. The two teams will be with us shortly in the Mall, Melbourne and Hawthorn, contesting that one day in September. And joining me on the dais, Drew Morford. A very good afternoon to you.
Thank you. Performance by John Northey and Alan Joyce over there, getting the Hawks to the grand final in his very first year as a senior coach.
Yes, and traditionally it's always been the MG club that has sponsored, provided the vehicles, and it's good to see the players. John Northey obviously a little bit relaxed. Alan Joyce a bit uptight, and naturally enough they'll be followed by their respective teams. Andrew Gowes. Unfortunately, he was injured, only a youngster from Xavier. Earl Spalding, commonly referred to as the Duke, maybe the Duke of Earl on the left, and Brian Wilson. Brian's had a checkered career in as much as he started at Footscray and North Melbourne, and now he's finally got to a grand final with the Melbourne side.
And not one of the Melbourne players has played in a senior grand final in the VFL. Whereas you look at Hawthorn, and they've had so much experience, from Michael Tuck, 9, Bertie Domenico, 7, and about 5 of them have played in the last 6 in a row.
Well, they are a very experienced side, and they've averaged about 12 games, finals games. They've averaged over 100 games individually, so they do go in with a wealth of experience. Melbourne, the underdogs, but naturally enough, they're the crowd favourite here, or will be this year. And John Northey there, being welcomed by the Lady Mayoress. And here are the teams. Is this Greg Deere? Yes, it is. He's an electrician. He comes from Windsor, down at Churchill. He's actually his brother. Jim was the first Hawthorn player to come down, and his other brother Paul is there. Stephen Phoebe, a youngster from Tasmania, as is the man on the right, the blonde hair, Anthony Lovell, who is a schoolboy at Melbourne High School. That's a tremendous effort, a 17-year-old with great maturity.
Peter Landy on centre stage. Pete?
Right, thanks, Drew. And with me I have, first of all, the Hawthorn coach, Alan Joyce. Alan, first of all, congratulations on getting the team to the grand final.
Thanks, Peter, very much.
I guess it's a nerve-wracking week for everybody, isn't it, at the club?
Yes, it is. They've been there a few times before, and it's another week, and it's a very big week for football, really.
I guess you've been in the last 5 grand finals, but you've only won 2 of them, so I suppose, there's something to prove, isn't there?
Yes, the players are very keen to attain the situation from last year.
All right, very best of luck tomorrow, Alan. I know they'll perform well.
Thank you, Peter.
Alan Joyce, the coach of Hawthorn, and we go to John Northey, the coach of Melbourne, coaching his first team in the grand final. John, congratulations on getting the team there.
Peter.
It's a great day for the Melbourne club, but I guess getting to the grand final for all teams isn't sufficient, really, is it?
Oh no, it's taken 24 years, of course, to get there, and just because we are in the grand final, we don't want to be known as just Melbourne players who have played in the grand final. We would love to be remembered as premiership players.
I mentioned to Alan Joyce a nerve-wracking week with all the dinners and luncheons and training, and it is a big week, isn't it?
Oh yes, it's a big week, and particularly perhaps more so for our players, because we haven't been involved in this ever, any of the players, of course, and although the players do know that there is a game to play, and it's not just all the accolades and everything that goes with it. We've got a game tomorrow to play, and the boys, as soon as this is over, the boys' mind will be right on the job.
Well, John, congratulations on getting the side to the grand final, and to you and Alan Joyce, the very best of luck.
Thanks very much.
John Northey, the coach of Melbourne. We'll take a break, and we'll be back with more of the grand final parade here in the Burke Street Mall after these messages.
Welcome back to the Burke Street Mall. And the atmosphere here is absolutely unbelievable, Don.
Yes, well, Jimmy Steins and Sean White there just getting out of their MGs. Jimmy and Sean, both, as we all know, from Ireland. Tony Hall, the Hawthorn player who's just come across from Glenelg. Number 6, who played on the wing and pole very well in the Brownlow, Tony, and a player that can rise to an occasion, having won the Odie medal in South Australia in the grand final when he played for Adelaide or Glenelg. Brett Lovett, David Williams, Brett, well, a Hawthorn reject, Drew, Brett Lovett.
Well, that's interesting that he's come from Hawthorn, and actually Melbourne have picked up quite a few players who are rejects from other clubs. There's young Darren Pritchard, quite a Tasmanian feel about this year's grand final.
Yeah, interesting when you said about the rejects. There's 3 of them actually rejected from Hawthorn playing for the Melbourne side. Jamie Dersmar, David Flintoff and Brett Lovett. Rod Grinter, the half-back flanker, who had that mishap earlier in the year with Terry Wallace, who was suspended for 6 weeks, and they call him Balls, but I don't know why. No one will actually tell me the reason why. See the marching girls? And a lot of atmosphere, and you can see the crowd really getting involved. It's terrific atmosphere, a bit of a ticker tape welcome. And the football is gradually filtering down. It's a little bit different to the time I came down, Drew. In 1978, we did it in 5 minutes, but it's really well planned and well done nowadays.
This is almost like when the astronauts came back from the moon, and I suppose on this particular weekend, these players are almost feeling like astronauts.
Yes, well, the greatest demonstration I saw, gathering of people, was the Vietnam demonstration back in about the late 60s, and this Mel was crowded there. There's Gerard Healy, the Brownlow medalist, and what a popular winner he was. Or he is, I should say.
And, of course, a former Melbourne player who went up to the Sydney Swans. It was interesting to hear him on Monday night say that on this particular week, I'm not sure whether I'd like to be Gerard Healy or Greg Healy, because his brother looks like, I think he's the youngest to captain a grand final team, Greg Healy.
Yes, and what a terrific effort, because he was lacking form just before the finals, but he certainly turned that around the last game of the year and has really led by example in these finals. Jason Dunstall, the former Queenslander, they call him Bunghole, Drew, because of his weight problem. He'll eat anything, and he's got a weight problem. He's got to look after himself, Jason. Danny Hughes and Steve Newport. Danny at full back. Stephen, who has done tagging jobs throughout the year for the Melbourne side. Two popular players. Hawthorn on the right, Peter Swab. And on the left, John Platten, the Rat. They call Swabby Czar Swab. Todd Viney on left and Ricky Jackson. Ricky, a bundle of energy on the ground and also a bundle of energy off the ground, always in the life of the party. And they tell me Todd Viney thinks he's a bit of a ladies' man too, Drew.
Well, he was a junior tennis player of some note, once beat Boris Becker in a junior tournament, and it's a great thing for him. It's sad for Steve O'Dwyer, of course, being rubbed out and missing the grand final through suspension, but Todd Viney wins a place in the 20.
Yes, well, he has got the looks. They call him the Great. A lot of these nicknames, you really never get to the bottom of why they're called. There's a lot of innuendo, a lot of in-house stuff, but it's quite interesting some of the names these boys come up with for one another.
Well, the Bourke Street Mall absolutely crammed. They've closed the trams off so the players can get down here. There are thousands of people here. A fantastic scene. Here again, Peter Landy.
Well, thanks, Drew, and we have a special presentation to make now on behalf of Maya Melbourne to the Brownlow medalist for 1988, Gerard Healy, and to make that presentation, the General Manager of Maya Melbourne, Mr. David Parker. David, welcome.
Thanks, Peter. Lord Mayor, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, David. It was a great thrill for me to win the Brownlow medal, and I'd just like to thank Maya for their sponsorship throughout the series, and to all the fans that have come here to support the various teams. Let's just hope it's a fantastic day tomorrow and that the best side wins on the day. And good luck, Greg.
Thanks, Gerard. Gerard Healy, the winner of the Brownlow medal. And still the players arrive. Russell Green, Gary Buckenara for Hawthorn.
All right, Alan Johnson, the veteran of the side, 31 years of age. Undecided as to whether to go back to Perth at the start of the year, but he stayed. David Flintoff played at Central Districts for a little while, and now he's found himself back in the Melbourne side.
And in the background there, Michael Tuck. Now, he's done this 9 times and still looks as though he's enjoying it, as though it's his very first time out.
And what a great player he is, Tucky. He's played in, as you just said, a lot of finals, and you know, self-effacing gentleman is Michael, and he's never ever let it go to his head. A lot of fellows can't handle the adulation, but Tucky has certainly got it in the right perspective. Signing autographs there, Michael. 36 years of age. It's a tremendous effort, isn't it?
And amazingly, his 9 grand finals isn't a record. Gordon Coventry played in 10 grand finals going way back into the 30s. And who knows whether Michael Tuck would play on again next year and give himself a chance of equaling that record, because the Hawks might play in another grand final next year.
Yes, well, that's right. But it's interesting, Michael. When he first came down to Hawthorn, he was a very light, skinny kid. They put him into the gym. He could not put on the weight or build up the strength, so they decided just to give the weights away. And Tucky has done his own thing. He's a plumber by trade, so he's a manual worker, and he's built up his strength naturally just through his work. Here's Greg Healy, and Greg's got a little fan there. I don't know if that's Shane Zantuck's son, but Greg, very, very popular. Jared's brother, and he's got a big responsibility this weekend.
And Greg Healy, of course, taking over as captain of Melbourne after Robbie Flower's retirement after the preliminary final last year. He'd been 22 most of the year, Greg Healy, but he turned 23 a week ago.
The Melbourne boys back on stage. You can see them very pensive, hands folded, very casual, blasé. I think they really wish it was over. They want to concentrate on the game. There's a lot of pressure on these fellows with this week, and they've got to do a lot of things beside their football.
Here once again is Peter Landy.
Right, thank you, Drew, and I've got the first of our captains, Michael Tuck. This is nothing new to you, but another great atmosphere here, Michael.
Yes, it's very good. I think the school holidays helps to get more people here, Peter.
I guess you'd still be nervous.
Yes, you always do. As I said before, if you don't get nervous before a grand final, you wouldn't be human, really. So everybody's a bit toey at the moment.
I suppose after last year, the club has something to prove. Would that be right?
Yes, it is, and plus we've got to prove it to ourselves. We've been a pretty good side all year, so we've got to make the most of it while we're there.
What about the weather? Would you prefer it to be dry or wet, or doesn't it really matter?
It doesn't really matter because football plays through the winter time, so whatever happens, it happens, and that's just the way it's got to be.
And you've got, I think, a personal milestone as well tomorrow, isn't it? Your 360th game.
Oh, yes, but I just playing for the footy club tomorrow, and all the players are going out as 20 together, so we're going to make the most of it.
Well done getting the side there. Congratulations and good luck tomorrow.
Oh, thanks, Peter.
Michael Tuck, and now Greg Healy, the Melbourne captain. Greg, congratulations. It's a big week for the Healys, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is, Pete. I just hope we can go one more tomorrow and cap off a great week for us.
Well, Tucky said it's been a great week down there, and I suppose you'd be the same.
Yeah, it certainly has. It's been a lot of atmosphere around the ground, and it's been great.
Well, the club's got an amazing record, hasn't it? I mean, you've had to win this one, you've had to win the next one, and the next one, you've just kept winning. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, well, it seems to be the case. We only win when we really have to, so we really have to tomorrow, so hopefully we do.
I asked Michael the question, would you prefer wet or dry? We might get a bit of both. Does it worry you?
No, not at all, Peter. Won't worry us once we get out there. It'll just be in for the ball and go for it.
Well, congratulations on getting the side to the grand final, and good luck tomorrow. May the better team win.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks, Greg. Greg Healy, the Melbourne captain, leading the Demons to their first grand final in 24 years. Drew.
Thank you, Peter. Well, they're the teams lined up there. Hawthorn and Melbourne on the dais here in the Burke Street Mall. We saw them signing autographs.